Hello, everybody. Sorry for leaving you alone that long. It took us a while to record, or not record, but put out this episode. We recorded it already back in July, but as you may will hear in this episode, we tested a new method Ondrej recently discovered that helps us to define our goals and then align the things we're doing with our goals. So, one thing that came out of this method for myself was that I need to focus on some things in my life that not included the podcast. And that's what I did. And I now found some time to get back to the podcast. And I decided to still cut and clean up this episode for you since it was so valuable for me, the discussion with Ondrej, the method he shared in this episode. It really changed how I think now about the things that I'm doing on the side and in my daily job, and really helped me to gain momentum and a clear understanding of why I'm doing things the way I'm doing. So I hope this episode will give you value as well. And there's nothing more to say than enjoy Ondrej sharing this great method with you.
Is it still radio?
Probably.
If it's not FM radio, it's it's weird.
It's weird. Yeah,
whatever.
we are in your ears.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Will be.
In your head.
Thank you for giving us space in your ears.
What up? What up?
Hey man, what's up?
We should do something. What's
yeah,
up?
we should definitely have this part. What up?
Yeah, we're back.
Welcome back to our podcast.
Welcome back.
The third one, right? That's definitely
the third one. Yes, yeah.
Yo, okay.
Yeah.
All
What's
right.
the podcast called, Ondrej?
So podcast is called Side by Side, right?
Yep.
I
Didn't change the title since the last two episodes.
Well, hopefully not.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Ondrej, who are you?
So I'm Ondrej Hamula. I'm a UX designer working for IBM Design in Austin, Texas. Yeah.
And I'm Sammy Schuckert. I'm also a user experience designer for IBM Design in Germany.
That's pretty cool. Okay, we both work on some side projects, so that's why we wanted to have this podcast and talk about stuff. So this week we prepared a part where we wanted to talk about, every designer has this part in a career where you just kind of get lost. Like you don't know where to really go, where you should move forward. And we actually had this discussion last week with Sammy. It was kind of like, I know what I want to do, but I'm not really sure if that's the right thing I should do. So we decided let's shoot a podcast about it because it happened to me also. You okay with that?
Yeah, it's always
Sammy?
hard to figure out. Yeah, it's always hard to figure out where to put your time in and where to focus on. And if you're, So I was asking with all the stuff that I'm doing on the side and at work, if I'm doing currently the right thing, if I'm putting my effort into, if I bet on the right horses and the right stuff I do, basically. If this brings me to my bigger goal.
Right.
And then I figured out that I have to figure first out what the bigger goal is.
All right. Yeah, so last week we had this session with Sammy where we actually started opening up this whole new world of like how you should define your goal, how you should find your way. Because I'll tell you, can I use my example real quick?
You can do, yeah.
All right. Thank you for the permission. So basically what happened to me last August, almost a year ago. So I was super excited to come to Austin to work for IBM Design. So I transferred from Germany to Austin and I worked on a cool project which was called IBM Business Digital Assistant. I really liked that. And I spent my evenings and weekends working on it. So I was really into it. And when I got to Austin, what basically happened is that our project was apparently so successful that it got connect to another project in UK. So basically I lost that project. And I really felt kind of sick, sad inside, angry and all these emotions, and I didn't really know how to fix it. So I did certain exercise at that point, and now I learned another exercise which I did half a year after that, and it really helped me to kind of define where I want to be in future and what should I be doing in my free time and also at work so I be relevant and I feel like I'm relevant, right?
Okay. Yeah, maybe you can tell our listeners what this method is and how
Okay,
to do it.
so if you're
Yeah,
interested to learn about, hey, what happened to my project, because it was like a very funny story, and I tried to make like good storytelling with GIFs and stuff like that on the Medium. Just check out the Medium blog post called "How Not to Go Insane When Your Epic Project Gets Killed." There is basically all the introduction, like what happened, and how stressful it
we will
was.
put the link in the show notes.
Cool, perfect. Uh, and then basically, I was feeling so down. So I was like, what the heck should I do? Why do I feel so bad? And I was like, well, maybe I just have to sit down and actually write it down. It sounds silly, but that's what I did. Took a paper and a pencil, but from IKEA because I don't really have pencils at home, and IKEA ones are for free. So I would
They're the
write
best pencils in the world.
totally, yep, yep. And in the middle of the big paper, because it's like A3 size, I would just write, why do I feel so bad? And I would just circle it and I would write, because they canceled my project. And like, okay, what does it mean? And then like, okay, then I took another paper and I was like, I started writing things like, how can I be happier? And I started writing all these things like, okay, maybe I have to work on a relevant project. What should the project be? What should be the areas within the project that I should be interested in? And then I have to, let's say, meet more people from the other areas. So I just create this big mind map and like put all my thoughts in it. And guess what? I just felt so much better because suddenly I had perspective. It's like, whoa, I have to do all of this and I'll be so much happier. So I just did post-its from it and I did actions from it and it was so much cooler. So such a simple exercise took maybe 10 minutes
Mhm.
and I felt way better than before. You remember, maybe you might remember me, Sammy, because you were here in Austin
Yeah,
when this
yeah,
thing happened.
I remember that time. It was horrible. But yeah, sometimes I think, yeah, writing down things can really help
Yeah,
you structure your
yeah,
thinking, and also that your mind is not just running around and doing circles, and you get things onto a paper, and then you can take a step back and see the bigger picture and can make links between things you were before not able to link together.
exactly. Yep, yep, yep. I totally agree with that. So that was the first very simple method, nothing groundbreaking. And there's the second one, which I can discover it in January. You mind if I talk about it? Or
Yeah, you talk about it.
perfect.
Ex-
So basically, in January, I found out that there was a free meetup in a General Assembly here in Austin downtown. General Assembly, it's basically like I would say like a school for UX designers, for visual designers, for marketing and everything. It's a pretty cool place, and they had this free session, so I'm really thankful for that. And I went there, and it was called. Let me get the name actually. Yeah, it was called Find Work That Matters in 2018. So I'm like, sure, I want to go there. Because, I mean, even though I did my mind map back in August last year, I kind of felt like I know what I'm doing, but I felt like I need more push towards some direction. It's like I felt like I'm not doing so much stuff as I should be doing, right? So that's why I went for
Mhm.
this, let's call it a workshop or like an introduction to this whole section because they do actually bigger workshops on this case. And it was pretty exciting. Uh, the dude who would lead it, his name is Spencer Ingram. So if you're listening, Spencer, then thank you so much for having us there. And basically, what he came up with is that carriers are never like a linear straight line. You know what I mean, Sammy, right? It's like it doesn't have like a
Mhm.
straight line like from A to point B, and it's like okay, I'm gonna be director of something, and it's like okay, I know what to do exactly. That's just one direction I have to do, and that's it, right? Um,
Yeah.
so he kind of discovered that that the carriers are more like loops, more like the loops we used to have on the old telephones, right? The big hand, the things you had at home ages ago. The sort of like wire with which is looping, and it's kind of messy. It's never really, your carrier is never really like I know what to do exactly. So you do have these mini kind of loops within it, and eventually you'll get there. Like when you talk to so many people, they'll tell you, "Well, I did this and this and this and that, so many things to get where they want it to be," uh,
Hmm.
and it's kind of exciting that this thing exists. All right, should I get into meat of it? You
Yeah, tell me. I'm
perfect.
pretty excited now about it.
Okay, so this thing, the loop thing is it's kind of interesting because he and I really like how he framed it. It's very simple. So basically, the first thing you gotta do is you just gotta start, because people will be always like, "Yeah, I don't know what to do. It's difficult," and that's why you have this mini loop. So Spencer came up with the great idea. You know, have some small micro projects or micro goals that you're gonna test and play with, and then you're gonna see what's the result of it, and that's pretty powerful. So the way how Spencer frames it is that you kind of clarify what you really wanna do, like what you wanna test, and he gives more like it's more like a question. So for example, I wrote down on January 31st when we had this session, a sentence which was, "How might I, as a UX designer, enter car industry or a motorsport industry?" Right, and that's just the question, right? And then the thing what happens is that you're just gonna start answering this question. So you might start throwing post-its on the wall. It's like, hey, maybe I should find people who work for IBM and move to other car companies. Then I started writing things like, maybe I should, design more about cars. Maybe my portfolio should reflect that I'm interested in cars and I want to design for cars. Probably I should, I even could do a survey, like write to every single designer who's working in car industry, and like ask them some questions and then publish it on the medium as a blog post and stuff like that. So you get like so many of things you could do in this case. And the idea is that you just pick one from them, and you try it, you do it basically, and that's the important. You have to do it, and it could be such a tiny thing. So don't start with something big. Just like do small stuff, and then when you do it, then you basically reflect on it. So and this is my variation of Spencer's loop. I'm making it just slightly simpler. You just reflect on it. It's like, oh, did it work? What did I learn? And what's kind of funny is that your path might completely change on things that you have learned basically before. So that's a base
Mm,
of
that's
design
interesting.
thinking, right? So like
Hmm.
Sammy, when we do design thinking, is that when you always you research about something, create, and then you reflect on it, maybe with the users, right?
Yeah.
And actually, you might realize that, oh, we were doing something completely wrong, and I should go in different direction. Um,
Yeah,
so
that
so
happens quite
basically,
often.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So, and the cool thing here is that you start doing something, and that's the whole base of these mini loops. You started, you test it out. Did it work? It didn't work. It didn't. Okay, who cares? Fuck it. Just do another one. And like then you do another one, another one, another one, and then you might find out that maybe I would find out that I don't want to be in car industry. I want to be somewhere else. I want to be in the space industry. I don't know. I didn't find it out yet, but uh, but yeah. So basically, you do these mini loops until you find out where you want to be, and finally you might actually get there by doing these things, right? So by connecting people and stuff like that. The main thing also which Spencer kind of mentioned was that you should ask questions or pose this question like, okay, how might I, as a UX designer, get to the car industry, motorsport industry? Just start asking people questions, because people will listen to you, and they will try to help you out. So if it's in terms of, if it's a face-to-face conversation, survey, or emails, those things help. So I started doing that, and that definitely helps out. Um,
So that sounds pretty awesome. Really, you got me really stoked about the method, and I have to confess, I wanted to do it up front because you told me already about it, and but I didn't find time before
aha,
we recorded
aha.
now today. Yeah, so it's a little bit of a pity, but anyway, I would like to hear what your results are. What was one of the things you tested out, and what was your learning?
So what happened is I started connecting with people who I know that work for IBM and are working in kind of industries, and then I started reading a lot more about UX design and cars, and I got more immersed into this whole culture. But what I would say the biggest thing which came up from this is that so I enjoy working for IBM. IBM is like I really like this whole company. It's all good. It's going basically. It's really teaching me on a daily basis a lot of stuff. So I learn a lot. But eventually, I know that I want to work for cars. I mean, if it's in 5 years or 10 years or three, I don't know. I mean, let's be honest. Nobody works for one company for 25 years anymore. So basically, I look deeper. Is like if I want to be in that car industry, what are the things that I should learn while I'm at IBM? Because there are so many things you can learn. It's such a big company, so many projects, right? So
Yeah, totally.
I don't necessarily need to go somewhere else in future to other company to work on cars because IBM has projects where you can work with cars, and that would be still interesting for me. It's like because I like IBM, I like the processes, like the people and everything, so I don't need necessarily to change. So, but I was like, if I have to stay at IBM, I have to still work on the relevant stuff. So what was interesting is that I basically realized while doing this that I really need to dig deeper in AI, in voice interactions, like assistants, and maybe AR to still keep myself relevant. Because I don't want to work. I realize I cannot work on some random projects and then like okay after 5 years like yo so bye IBM and I'm like oh I should get a job in car industry but my portfolio my skills don't reflect that. So that's why I was like okay from now on this is my path. I want to learn these four things. I want to work in that area so then I can work in that car industry. That was the biggest insight for me, and from that moment I feel much happier. So whenever I do decisions of what I want to do at IBM, or in my spare time, I'm like it has to be aligned with these pillars. And if I do that, then I feel happy with myself, and I don't have to do these exercises, on daily or weekly, monthly basis. Yeah.
Awesome. Sounds pretty good.
And
Yeah, I should try it out.
you should definitely try that.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one more
There's no
thing.
excuse for me anymore. Yep.
Yeah, yep. I found out that there is a website of this looping method, and it's called simply loopingmethod.com, where you can get some introduction into what I was talking about. You can see some of the visualization of the fiction and the reality of the linear and loop path to your future. It has some examples, and then actually Spencer created this whole looping method toolkit where you might learn, it might help, like basically it's a toolkit for you to learn about how you should advance in your career. And it has good sections for managers, for, if you need to change a career, if you're a new employee and stuff like that. So definitely check it out because I think they did a good job of putting all these things together.
Sounds awesome. I will put the link into the show notes
Cool.
for the listeners. I'm just wondering, what is Spencer's profession?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think. All right. I don't remember. This is gonna sound so bad. Yeah. Spencer basically. I think what I remember. He was more like a educator. So he tried to help designers and companies to move forward. And this is one of his startups, the Looping Method, to basically help within the companies people to help people move forward and kind of, I don't know. But you can check out the Looping Method. There is a section about him. He's a pretty good dude. So check it
Yeah,
out.
because I was just wondering if this looping method and the workshops he's giving, if this is something that came out of his method as
So-
one of the results to achieve his
okay.
goals.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
my thinking
I don't
behind
know. We could ask him. But basically, the method he used to, I think, do design thinking, and he used to run workshops. So some of these things, the basically the loop is from design thinking, right? You start something, you do it, then you reflect on it, and you go forward. So. I think that's where he took the inspiration, and he used to work as a designer, I believe. So that's how it all got together.
Pretty awesome. Yeah, I also, while you were talking, I wrote down some post-its already. And I think I will continue right after we record the podcast. I hope this helps me because I was a little bit stuck, as you could tell from our conversation last weekend when we actually wanted to record the podcast, but we didn't get to do it because we ended up in a whole other conversation about how to basically use your time right and like focus on the things that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe this will also change a little bit the direction of the podcast. And as you see, or not see, you cannot see a podcast, but as you listen to this episode today, this is a little bit different from what it was intended to be, to talk about our side project. Now it's more like on personal and career development. So yeah, that could also be something that comes out of such an exercise, that we
Yeah.
change the direction of such a thing we are doing currently and putting so much time and effort in into something a little bit different,
Right.
but still
But
helpful for our audience.
at the same time, I think this is still relevant because you know you run your side projects, but you need to know why you are doing them, right? So maybe you can do them for fun, for sure, but if you realize that this is the thing that will help you to grow in future, then it makes sense to plan it before. So I think this whole topic makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, totally. So yeah, because the one thing I was wondering, I'm doing so much stuff on the side, and I'm
Hmm.
putting so much effort in different buckets, different projects, and yeah, I was basically a little bit lost because I'm not able at the moment to see where all the things are getting together, and maybe such a method like you just spoke about will help me to see the picture a bit more clearly.
Yeah, yeah, hopefully. And I want to hear about the results of it, man. Because I mean,
Yeah, we will
the
we
the
will talk on
whole
it the next episode on
you're
it.
right, right. The whole thing is
Yeah.
just you get to start and do it. It's like I met some people around who are like, yeah, I don't know what to do. I'm kind of lost, and I don't know. I just go to work every day. I'm not happy. The manager is kind of like nah, and everything is kind of like meh. And then you talk to them 3 months later, and it's the same. It's like, okay, well, I mean, if it's clearly not okay, then you just have to start doing something, and whatever you do, it's probably better than nothing. And maybe you just have to map everything on the paper, and it's like, okay, what is wrong, and how am I going to fix it, or how is this going to help me in future if I, do this and that. So, um,
Yeah.
definitely good, yeah.
Great. I would definitely say we're going to talk about my results of your method on the next episode. So let's make it a wrap, or what do
Yeah,
you say?
let's totally do that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. No,
Okay.
this was a good session. I know I talked a lot, but I'm kind of super pumped.
Awesome. Andre, where can the people find you on the internet?
So where people can find me, I'm hiding right now. I'm honestly out of Twitter, out of Instagram, out of Facebook. So LinkedIn is a good thing, or my website, which I'm still designing right now. So Ondrej, Ondrej, HOMOLA .com. So yeah, or you can shoot me a message on LinkedIn or anywhere if you're interested, or if you're in Austin. If you drive me at us, if you like cars, nature, whatever hiking, I'm here. Well, all right, this was like a
We
self
can hook you up
promotion.
with a scene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sammy, you wanna do your part?
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter. It's my first name, then my last name. So SAMMYSCHUCKERT. And yeah, I'm with that handle. You find me on all the social media channels. I'm mostly on Twitter and Instagram. So yeah, just shoot me a message.
Thank you for listening, and talk to you or see you or whatever. We're gonna be in your radios. No, not nobody's in the radios. We're
Nobody.
gonna be
Maybe
in your.
if the people listen in the car, we are on the radio.
Is it still radio? If it's
Probably.
not FM radio, it's I don't. Yeah, it's weird. I
Yeah,
get
it's
nah.
weird. Yeah.
Whatever.
We are in your ears.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Will be.
In your head.
Thank you for giving us space in your ears. Time. All right, guys. And
All right.
again,
Appreciate
yeah,
talking to you, Andre.
yeah. One last thing. If you
Oh,
like this
one last
podcast, just
Ooh, yeah.
just tell us that you like it. If you don't like something, tell us. We would love to hear from you. So if it's
Yeah, we want to hear if this was helpful, if the new direction is something you like, or if we are completely betting on the wrong horse with Andre's methods.
it's like, this method sucks, Andre. Why would you do it? Yeah. Right.
Yeah, we will see. I will do it afterwards, and we will talk about the outcome
Okay.
on the next podcast.
Yeah. Maybe
Good.
you should write the comment under the podcast. Just So yeah.
I might do.
All right. Boy.
Okay. Bye,
Scrapapa. All
Andre.
right. I'm gonna stop recording. Hopefully this.
Me too.